Yes, brothers and sisters, how are you doing today? By now, most of you should be aware that Bobby Wine is now 39 years old. Yesterday, he celebrated his birthday, where different people attended the function that included politicians, religious leaders, and so many other people. Now, for good measure, Museveni is roughly 77 years old, or 78. I'm not so sure about his age, just like him. He's a gentleman that keeps shifting the age here and there. But today, I'm not here to talk about Museveni's age, but I'm here to let you know that what the people have been fighting for, the people of Uganda, we are seeing the benefits, we are tasting the fruits in one way or the other after pushing for a very long period of time. Now, yesterday but one, something big happened in the European Union Parliament, whereby a couple of legislators in this parliament decided to enact Magnitsky sanctions, or voted overwhelmingly to enact Magnitsky sanctions on Museveni's personnel, as well as his organizations that he has been using to torture people, undermine democracy, and things of that sort. Now, I've always told people that there are so many people that are working in the interest of Uganda. These people, most of them are not even Ugandans. Some of them we shall never even know. Some of them we don't even know, but are doing whatever they can to push the plight of Ugandans that are being oppressed in one way or the other. So many people worked to make sure that they block the Mama Awards that were taking place in the country, and now it has taken a precedent whereby people are contemplating on the African continent that are Mama Awards useful, and which country will they be selecting to host these awards, because it looks like the entire region is going, or the entire continent is going through some sort of human rights abuses, things of that sort, and so on and so forth. So if at all Uganda has set a precedent, it means that the next time these people are going to host the awards, they will have to check into human rights violations and things of that sort. So it means that the blocking of Mama Awards in Uganda, it really benefited the entire continent. Now back to the European Union Parliament. European Union is one of the biggest funders in the government. It helps in terms of budget support and things of that sort. Now, a few days ago, Museveni banned one of the biggest NGOs in the country that has been helping different people and different organizations to survive. That organization is known as the DGF, Democratic Governance Facility. And he blocked them, and he told them to cease operations in the country. Now, DGF is under the European Union, of course, we all know, and all this kind of thing. But what is very interesting is how the entire House in Brussels actually voted to enact sanctions on Museveni, his counterparts, as well as his organization. They cited that Museveni has been a gross human rights violator. He has been a person who undermines democracy and things of that sort. Whereas he has been a good collaborator in terms of refugees and things of that sort. All those things cannot be held, without regarding the plight of Ugandans, and without, looking at, the citizens themselves. Because just imagine if Museveni can kill his own citizens, what will happen to the refugees? So, a couple of legislators put up the Magnitsky Act sanctions to be put on Museveni and his government. And when it was put to the vote, the entire parliament overwhelmingly voted for these sanctions to be enacted. The outcome was that 632 individuals or legislators voted in favor, and just 15 voted against, and 48 were absent. Now, this was a very big win for NUP. It was a very big win for Uganda. It was also a very big win for People Power. But most especially, it was a very nice and one of the best birthday gifts Bobby Wine got on his 39th birthday. because this is something that we have been fighting for. This is something we have been telling these guys that please stop financing these people, because they are using whatever money you're giving them to haunt us, to beat us up, to undermine democracy, to undermine human rights, and all this kind of thing. Now, whereas they listed a couple of individuals we all know and organizations, I'll show you which individuals and organizations are going to be targeted. Now, the law that they are going to use to target these people is known as the Magnitsky Act. It was named after a Russian accountant and lawyer known as Sergei Magnitsky, who was killed by the Russians for exposing corruption in Putin's government. So as a matter of fact, Barack Obama passed this act in the United States of America, and different other countries have started also adopted the same act. Now, Magnitsky basically targets one's finances in the countries where it is, the likes of America, the UK, European Union, Canada, Australia, and all these countries. So they target someone's finances in these countries. You put on a travel ban. If you cannot travel in America, you cannot travel in European Union, as well as you cannot travel in Australia and Canada for any reason, whether you are sick or whatever. You are not allowed to travel to these countries. The other thing, you cannot conduct financial business with any of the companies in these countries. Like, for example, you cannot work with American companies. You cannot buy anything from British or European companies if at all you are put on these sanctions. Also, not only is an individual targeted, but also his immediate family members. That includes the wife as well as the children. They are also targeted. They cannot also travel, because most people say that, okay, I don't mind even if you put me on sanctions, but then when they hear that the wife is going to be affected and the children, then they start to panic. Now, this would not be the first time that Magnitsky sanctions will be enacted in Uganda. So far, the first person to be sanctioned in the country was General Kale Kaihura because of the crimes he committed against our opposition politician known as Kano Kizza Besigye. Now, Kaihura, so far now, I think it's 2 years ever since he was put on these sanctions. And then we also have a Ugandan judge who was also put on sanctions for I think it was child exploitation, something of that sort. There's a Ugandan judge who was also put on these sanctions. Now, we also remember very well that in the United States of America, a list of different officers was submitted to be put on sanctions that included Frank Mwesigwa, Sabiti Muzeyi, and so on and so forth. Now, for the European Union, now that they have passed the law, of course, they have some names in mind, and I'll let you know what those names are. The first one is of course, Paul Lokech, the Deputy Inspector General of Police. That one is going to be sanctioned because he has even just been in the position for 2 months only. The other person is the SFC commander, who also doubles down as Museveni's first son, known as Muhoozi Kainerugaba. And the previous person who was in that SFC post, known as Sabiti Muzeyi, was also sanctioned. Sabiti Muzeyi, Don Nabasa, all these people, James Birungi, were all sanctioned, whoever took on the leadership of the SFC. Now, General David Muhoozi, the commander of the UPDF, is also going to be put on those sanctions, as well as people who have been seen in public, especially police officers, who actually blocked Bobi Wine from campaigning, whoever was caught on camera and they got your name, all these people are going to be put on the sanction list. The gentleman who shot journalist Kasiri Ashraf, that one is also going to be taken down. Frank Mwesigwa is going to be taken down. All these people, whatever police commander, everyone, it doesn't matter who you are, all of them are going to be put on these sanctions. Now, most people might think that these sanctions only targeted military men. No. In one of the South African countries, I've forgotten, but in South America, the leader of the Electoral Commission in that particular country was also put on Magnitsky Act sanctions. So it means that people like Justice Byabakama, as well as the entire Electoral Commission, is also going to be put on sanctions. Remember very well, I told you that in Tanzania, Justice Kajaige Stemstokolis was also put on US sanctions for undermining democracy and sorts of things. So it is also likely that these Ugandan Electoral Commission officials will also be put on these particular sanctions. Now, other people that are going to be targeted also, people who work in LDUs, people who work in ISO, and all these security agencies. And of course, the big fish will be Museveni himself. He will also be put on sanctions. Now, the other thing to watch as the EU approved these sanctions is the Supreme Court, because we know that Bobi Wine actually petitioned the Supreme Court contesting the results that were released by the Electoral Commission. Now, the Supreme Court, has a couple of days, a couple of weeks to release its verdict. But I do believe surely that this announcement is actually going to, there's a way it's going to play into the Supreme Court in their ruling, because they are not being pressured to make a ruling that favors Bobi Wine, but they are being pressured to be just, to be fair, and not to be influenced by Museveni and his cronies. Because we have seen the Chief Justice, who is the head of the hearing, has been traveling, meeting Museveni left, right, and center, and things of that sort. Now, it is going to affect the ruling in the Supreme Court. Either the Supreme Court Justice, that gentleman known as Owini Doro, might double down and say, okay, let me just move with Museveni in this, or he might say that I won't stand with the people of Uganda. Whatever comes from the European Union, let it come. And what comes from the European Union will be that the funding in the Supreme Court, the European Union funding in the judiciary will be cut, number one. Secondly, all these judges who have been on the panel are also going to be put on sanctions, as well as their families and as well as their immediate families. So it is likely to affect the outcome of the Supreme Court petition that Bobi Wine actually submitted in one way or the other. So I think that actually comes as a very huge birthday gift to Bobi Wine, and it is something for him to celebrate, because at 39 years old, at least he has something now to smile about. The West all of a sudden is now hearing the plight of Ugandans. The West all of a sudden is now have come to their senses to understand what we are going through. You understand recently that the UK also withdrew funding from the Uganda police as well as the UPDF. Although it was a slap on the wrist, but it is also the start, because they promised that they will be withdrawing more funding that they had that is big in the country, because the funding they withdrew was around just I think £40,000. That is only that is what was withdrawn. But they said, they promise that they will help out. They will make sure that they withdraw more other bigger fundings. So brothers and sisters back in Uganda, the diaspora is pushing back. The international community is now pushing back. The battle has just begun. It had not even started yet. So you just see that all these fruits are now, we are now bearing fruits, and now we are enjoying these fruits. Just do not give up. Don't be relentless. Just be relentless in asking for justice. Be relentless in making sure that we take our victory back. So, in this episode, I would like to congratulate His Excellency Bobi Wine on reaching his 39th year, and may you live to see more years. Happy birthday.